podcast host Tremaine Lee joins us now live from Atlanta, Georgia, where HBCU students are out in full force today to rally this vote. Tremaine, tell us what's happening. Why are these students so motivated to get to the polls?
Well, I'll tell you what, Morgan, I'm on the campus of Clark Atlanta University. It's homecoming weekend, so everyone is a little excited, a little turned up, but they're also excited and turned up about voting. They've managed to piece together a voter registration and voter turnout machine on this campus that has really pushed youth turnout to record levels, helped the Democrats flip 2 Senate seats and actually put Georgia in play. But also with great success comes great pushback, and in Georgia, that means legal pushback. Let's take a look.
Hey, how you doing? Are you registered to vote? You were going to register down there, yeah.
On the promenade at Clark Atlanta University, senior Janiah Henry is doing one of the things she does best.
What's your name? You live on campus? Okay, so your polling location is at Morehouse?
Harnessing the power of young black voters, just like herself. She's the co-chair of CAU Votes, a nonpartisan voter mobilization group that encourages students to engage in civic life.
Have you ever thought about voting locally to affect local politics?
Okay, sign in here.
They're an army of student organizers that helped get young black voters to the polls during the 2020 election in record numbers. Black people made up 1/3 of all young registered voters in Georgia, the highest concentration in any state. But concerns over low voter enthusiasm could mean an uphill battle for Janiah.
So in 2020, Stacey Abrams is running, you have this huge turnout, but the numbers had been actually down here on campus. Did you get a sense that there was either a lack of enthusiasm or a lack of organizing?
People were in the streets, they were protesting and all that. It's so easy to get a turnout when things like that happen because automatically people think this is how I can get my voice heard. But it's so hard to explain to them that this is where your voice stops. It stops on the street. It has to carry on to the polls. So I think that it was just a lack of people understanding where that real power resides. So that's just been the constant battle.
The voters of Georgia will not only decide who wins the governor's race rematch between Stacey Abrams and incumbent Republican Brian Kemp, but could also determine the future of the U.S. Senate, as incumbent Democrat Raphael Warnock is challenged by Republican Herschel Walker in a dramatic neck-and-neck race. For Janiah, the stakes feel higher than ever.
A woman's autonomy, voting as we know it, honestly, our democracy.
This election will also be a test of Georgia's new voting law, which critics say is an attack on the black vote by limiting things like absentee ballots, mobile voting sites, and bars passing out water and snacks by anyone but poll workers at polling stations. Janiah says all of this could contribute to a lack of engagement.
It's made people feel like their voice doesn't matter, and this is why. They feel as though every vote doesn't count because mine keeps getting removed somehow over the decades.
Supporters of the law have dismissed claims it will limit voting access, pointing to record early turnout in May's primaries. Those opposed say primaries, with smaller levels of turnout than general elections, aren't a fair gauge of the law's impact. The Justice Department is suing Georgia, claiming the law deliberately targets black voters. But no matter the obstacles, Janiah believes young black voters can overcome with time and drive on their side.
How far off do you think we are to seeing the HBCU student body being a huge block, an important block in this country that matters to politicians?
Give us 5 to 10 years. If less, I'm not surprised.
With determination and grit, the power is theirs to take.
Tremaine, it's so interesting seeing how and why those students are expressing their engagement.